I'm visiting Nick at Swan Island Dahlias, and Nick, usually we're here and there's beautiful dahlias, but really in late winter, early spring, there's a little bit of work to do to get those beautiful flowers later in the season.
Right. Sometimes people store their tubers in a full clump form all winter, and now it's time to divide them. You can divide them in the fall, but most people do it in the springtime.
Right.
These tubers here have been stored, in cold storage here for a few months now, so they're really pretty dormant. So it's a hard time to see the eyes, but if you look really closely, you can find eyes on here, and here, and here, and here. They'll be more prevalent when your area warms up in the spring, your storage area. You can go back and maybe find them in the end of March or 1st of April, and you'll see inch
sure.
sprouts on them, and that's when people do most of their dividing because it's easy to see.
Right, but a lot of people, like me included, don't take them up in the fall, and
Right.
I left them in the ground, and so I want to start digging them. So when we dig them, should I just bring them in and start dividing them, or should I clean them off? What should we do once we start digging them? And how do you not, chop into this while I'm digging them?
Right, you have to be very careful with it. You can see how wide they are. You have to use a fork around the outsides and loosen up and carefully pull them up. A lot of times you can grab a hold of the stalk and have somebody work with a fork, and two people on it actually works really, really good.
Sure,
but you have to be careful, and if you do break one or cut one in half, you haven't ruined it if you
Right.
have an eye on the end that you saved. If you're bringing them, digging them up from storage in the winter outside, you probably want to do that usually early April, mid-April, because you'll already see the sprouts on them because the warm soil is coming through.
Makes it easier.
And that way you can just hold them maybe for a week or so inside and then plant back when it's nice outside.
But this time of year, if I have time now, so I'm going to dig them up and then I'm going to wash them off before I start looking at them?
To divide, you have to wash all the dirt, because most times you'll rinse it off and you'll think, oh, I got it. But if the dirt clumps on here, this is where your eyes are and you'll never see them.
Right.
So you have to be really careful that you know where an eye is before you take them apart. So you never want to just rip them apart or break them apart, because you'll end up leaving the eyes on the stalk.
And not get any flowers.
And not getting any flowers.
Yeah, and that's really, I know that's what I learned from you guys, because I would have done that, because you would think, oh, here, this is going to be what I plant. But you really need to have that eye, that little bump. And so when you start cutting this apart, this is a beautiful clump, and we can cut this into different pieces to be viable for this year. So where do we want to start cutting?
Sometimes people will just cut the clump in half or 3 pieces and take it. But if you find, it's really easy right here on top, there's one, see these eyes right here?
Right, okay.
So you just cut this here.
Because you always want a piece attached.
Right, and then you have your eyes right there.
Okay.
And then we usually just trim this back a little bit.
Okay.
But basically that's all you do. When you plant, you lay it flat.
All right.
Some people worry about standing them up or down, or actually if the eye's upside down, it'll turn around and come back up.
They figure it out,
So,
yeah. They're very smart.
So,
let's do another one, just so that we can kind of show everybody where to make that
eye
cut.
right there.
So that's an easy one, yeah, you just cut right around it. And using a sharp, clean knife, that's really important too.
Right, so then you have your eyes, eye right there. There's a multiple amount of eyes right here.
Oh,
boom,
sure,
boom, boom,
yeah.
boom. So you can just go in and cut this.
And so now we're in March, and so we're doing this, we're taking care of this part of the dividing, but really I can't go out and plant them. It's too early right now.
Yeah, so it's ideally you want to store them on a garage bench or somewhere, but not out in the sun and not in a lot of heat.
Sure.
You'd like to have these cuts cure overnight.
Okay.
And then you could box them up, put some peat moss on them or sawdust on them to hold them for a month, before you go to get them out to plant. But a lot of times people think, oh, I like tulips or daffodils, I got to dry them.
Right.
And dahlias are a tuber, and they're really don't have the skin to be able to be left out in the open. So you can't leave these for a week or two, or they'll end up shriveling up, and if you left them for a month or so, you might lose them.
Oh, wow.
So it's good to let the cuts cure, but don't leave them just laying out. Just good to cover them with sawdust or peat moss or something like that.
All right, and on Swan Island website, you have all this information in videos. So really, if you need more of a tutorial, more of a how-to, you can go to the website, Swan Island Dahlia website, and find out more information and get your dahlias all ready for the season to have those beautiful flowers later in the summer. Thanks so much, Nick.
You bet. Thanks for coming out.